All right, we're going to talk about a topic that a lot of people want to know the answer to. How do you get out of a speeding ticket? So there are really two ways to approach this strategy. The first is, what can you do during the traffic stop? And the second is, what can you do after the traffic stop in terms of going to court or otherwise. Now, we're actually going to start with the latter. What do you do after? Because I think that's where most people, if you're watching this, you probably already have the speeding ticket and you want to know what you can do. So the big question is, can you go and contest the speeding ticket in court? Now, I have worked for a judge in a local court that we saw these sorts of traffic citations and we had people who would come in. In general, this is not a very effective strategy. So judges typically don't like having to deal with traffic citations, and if you walk in and you're just and I've seen this, hey, I'm here to just see if I can get this reduced or eliminated, they'll actually hit you with court fees and you'll end up with the maximum fine plus several $100s in court fees and come out considerably worse position having wasted your time. So in general, I do not think that just going to court and showing up is a very good strategy. What about going to court and contesting that, for instance, the police officer did not do the tuning fork test or had not kept their radar up to standards or hadn't tested it recently enough, challenging the veracity of the radar? I think many of us have a friend of a friend who supposedly had used this as a successful strategy and got out of it because the police officer didn't have their records kept up. I don't think this is a very effective strategy. I think it would be a very rare occurrence for it to work. I've never heard of it working. I wouldn't waste your time because I think you're going to be in the same position as the last case where they will just hit you with court fees and send you on your way with a bigger bill than you had before. So what I have seen have some effect is those who've had some hardship, like you're a student, they write a letter to the judge and they sort of plead their case of asking for a reduction, not in the fee, not an elimination. So I had a friend who was driving back from home to his university and got a speeding ticket, and he wrote to the judge and asked them to help him out in any way because he was a student and he was trying to make ends meet and get through college and pay bills, etc. And the judge helped out a little bit. I think he took $30 or $40 off the so that may be worth your time. And again, you're not tying up court. You're giving them the opportunity. They may not even respond. The same friend tried that with a different judge and it didn't go anywhere. But they didn't give him a larger fee. So that's a strategy that I have seen work. I think it could be compelling to a judge. But in general, the judges are going to side with the police officer. I've heard of people who want to go and they want to make creative arguments that the statute in their state says that you need to be driving at a reasonable speed given the road conditions and the weather. And then they go and they say, well, look, it was 55 and I was doing 65, but that's still reasonable given the road conditions and it was a bright, sunny, dry day out. The judges typically are going to side with the law on this. It's not that they're impartial, it's just that they like an effective court system and they don't want everyone showing up contesting speeding tickets all the time. It's just not a very effective system, and so again, they're going to make it harder for you if you do this and you try to come to court and you try to get it a reduction or have it eliminated just by showing up or making some creative argument. I don't think it's a good strategy. Now, what I think is a better strategy is what you can do when you are pulled over. And, we've all been here, right? You get pulled over and you were passing somebody, or you just sort of quit paying attention to your speed limit for a minute, or you got something distracted you. You weren't trying to speed and you just got caught at the wrong time. I know it's happened to me. And you want to argue about it, right? So what I recommend is the thing to do is be as respectful as you can be, even if you disagree with the circumstances. Be as respectful as you can be and be unmemorable. So respectful, unmemorable. And we'll talk about why. So the first reason to be respectful is that Going up to a car that's been pulled over is the most dangerous thing that a police officer does during their day. They don't know what's going to happen. They don't know if that person's going to have a gun in their hand, they're going to have people in the back seat, or the driver will go speeding off and run them over. All of these things happen, and so what you can do is roll down your window, put your hands at 11 and 2, okay? And then, use sir, ma'am. Be very respectful. What I would do is I would have your hands at 10 and 2. When they come to the window, they'll ask you for your license and registration. I would ask them if you can remove your hands from the steering wheel and open the glove compartment. Again, when they approach a car and they see someone moving to the glove compartment, they don't know if you're reaching to get a gun. They don't know if you are trying to hide drugs or hide something that you don't want them to see. So don't move. Turn on the dome light if it's night. Turn on the dome light. Hands at 11 and 2. Don't move. Ask the police officer respectfully if you can go to get that license and registration, if you can reach down into your front pocket to get your billfold. And if they ask you why, tell them it's because you know that this is the most dangerous thing they do, and you want to make sure they know that the officer knows what you're doing at all times, and they can instruct you on what they'd like to have happen. In my view, this kind of respect is going to give you your best chance of having the ticket reduced or eliminated, because they know that you appreciate what you're doing and that you understand the risks. One more point to this, the be unmemorable part. That's the be respectful part. The be unmemorable part is that don't get into an argument. Don't give the officer a reason to remember you and to be upset at you, because if you do decide to go to court and you do decide to challenge this, you're giving them a reason to remember, because they're going to have to recount from their memory the day, the time, and the situation in which they saw you and what you were doing and who you were. And if they are struggling to remember that, they may decide not to show up at that court date because they don't have anything to testify about. Or it's certainly going to make it harder to testify. So be respectful, be unmemorable. That's your best chance of getting out of this. You could go to court, could challenge it. I think your likelihood of success is low, but every situation is different, and there may be other circumstances that give you a reason to want to go and try to challenge it. So hope this helps you, and I hope it helps you prevent or get out of your next ticket.
Hope this video helped you. Leave your best speeding ticket story or your best advice for getting out of a speeding ticket in the comments, and we will enjoy your circumstances as well and hopefully take away some great tips and advice from you. There's a lot of other great content that I've created where I explain legal questions people have, like what's the difference between murder and manslaughter, what's a grand jury, how do you get off a jury. So subscribe to this channel and watch some of these other great videos, and I hope that they help answer questions you have always wanted to know.